Life is a continuum of learning. There's an ebb and flow, highs and lows, success and failure. And with every step, we pick up important lessons if we're paying attention. Some lessons come from our own experience, and some of the best lessons come from watching others muck it all up. It's funny how we can have such clear vision as we watch others try and manage their own lives. If you've ever wondered whether there's a life lesson out there that could help you right here, right now, or if you've never taken the time to stop and figure out the most important thing you've learned in life so far, then today's episode is for you. What do you do when your dreams feel unreachable, your reality feels close to unbearable, and no matter how hard you work to shake things up, no matter how much time and effort you put into changing your life, you still feel deeply, painfully, and hopelessly stuck? What you need is alchemy. What is alchemy? Well, it's a process that changes or transforms something in a magical way. You can discover how to create this very practical form of magic in your own life, shifting your energy in a way that dissolves the obstacles in your path to literally bring success to you. My name is Remy, like Do Re Mi, and I'm a best-selling author. Knowing how to unlock this hidden power, how to take back your resilience so you can just move forward, is the battle cry of anyone who's been through one of life's crushing setbacks. Luckily, unlocking your hidden power is easier than it might seem. I have something that I think you'll enjoy, and you can get started with this very practical form of magic right here, right now. Okay, let me jump off the screen here so I can see my laptop. Today, we're talking about life lessons and self-sabotage because there are a few definitions out there for self-sabotage. One of the common reasons is because we actually want to stay stuck right where we are. Insane, right? But think of the person who has debilitating fears of moving forward into a fantastic new job, a fantastic new experience, a fantastic new relationship, and we worry that we're going to screw it all up. And so we sabotage ourselves to keep us stuck in status quo. But one of the perspectives that I like the most is that sometimes we sabotage ourselves just because we feel like we need to buy a little time. We want to feel prepared. We want to get it right. How can we stop the sabotage so that we can just move forward toward success? And is there a life lesson that can help us with this? Well, if you aren't getting the success you want in full abundance, however you identify with success, and if you're wanting to tap into a greater knowingness and align with the higher consciousness of your infinite self, instead of the lower ego thinking that pushes desires away, then this episode is for you. It's time to be unabashedly, unapologetically, happily untethered to ego thinking. It's time to align with our soul's path instead. This episode is for you if you wonder how to best use life and what it has to teach you, how to pinpoint your own best life lesson and how it can serve you. You may have more than one life lesson. How to navigate the life lesson you're currently going through. Yes, these episodes are about how to find your hidden power when you want to transform challenges into successes. I like to call it the audacity of alchemy, because the magic of alchemy is that it can transform any challenge into a success. All it needs is someone who wants to use their positive thoughts to begin the creative process, and that someone is you. Because when we're feeling stuck, it's never the situation that has us stuck. It's our energy that's become stuck in anxiety, overwhelm, doubts, worries, frustrations, indecision, and even anger. And often this is because of a spiritual injury that we've experienced, some kind of hidden trauma. So it isn't the pain of the situation, it's the pain of not being connected in the natural energy of who we really are, of being connected to that magical part of us that's a creative vibrational being who can use positive energies to create what we want and bring it into physical manifestation. We can watch our manifestations materialize and not get stuck in the negative vibrations that block them. These positive energies that we talk about so much are where we find the magic of alchemy, because our choice of frequency, our choice of those higher energy thought patterns can change the course of our journey. So life is a continuum of learning. Every situation, every experience, it brings us something. There's an ebb and flow, highs and lows, success and failure. And with each of these experiences, life lessons are available for us if we're paying attention. In every workshop that I do, someone wants to tell me about a situation they've been in, and I always ask, what did you learn? This is an important question. Before all the obsessive reflection, before the he said, she said, before the rumination and vacillation and trying to make ourselves right, before ego thinking can get a hold of everything that went wrong, ask, what did I learn? Think for a moment about the last hard time you had, the last difficulty, the last challenge, the last thing that brought you to your knees. What did you learn? Think of 3 or 4 things right now, 3 or 4 or 20 things, because let's face it, some challenges are much bigger than others. What did you learn? Some of these lessons come from our own experience, and some of the best lessons come from watching others. It's funny how we can have such clarity when we watch others as they're trying to manage their own challenges. So this is another way to access the life lessons that are available for us, because sometimes we're blind. We see these lessons easier in other people, don't we? So think for a minute about someone you know who's been through a challenge. From your eyes, what was the lesson? Think for a minute about someone you know who's been going through a challenge. What can you see through your eyes? That's the lesson. This is an interesting question, because if you can see their lesson, there might also be a lesson in it for you. I had a friend of mine one time. She was a young mother, and her youngest was probably 9 or 10 years old. Her oldest was a teenage girl with raging hormones. Actually, I think everything in that child was raging. And I used to think to myself that anyone who's raging that much, boy, they must be in a lot of pain. And I would run these scenarios through my head of the conversations that this young mother could be having with her daughter, and how things might be a little bit easier if she'd make time for these conversations with her. Now, of course, I'm not a parent, never have been, so I'm talking out of my back end here, but you see my point. We see someone else going through a challenge, and it's so easy sometimes to see their lesson from our viewpoint. And that's what I'm looking for. Anytime you see someone else going through a challenge, if you can see their lesson, is there also a lesson in there for you? There's so much that we simply can't learn until we face certain situations ourselves. And those are some of the toughest. If I had a nickel for every time I thought, if the right book had landed in my lap, this would have been a much easier way to learn this lesson. But life is experiential, and screaming at the heavens, enough with these lessons already, just won't make it stop. My invitation is for you to take some time to reflect on some of the challenges that you've been through, some of the things that you've had to face, and just ask, what did I learn? And just make a list of the few life lessons that you've learned along the way, maybe one, maybe more. Did you learn that people will always surprise you? That you alone have the power to create the life you want? To appreciate the journey, was that your lesson? To always choose kindness, to push the envelope wherever you can, test your boundaries. What life lessons have you learned? And after you reflect on some of your own life lessons, what's the biggest, best lesson that you've learned so far? Something so good that you think it just needs to be shared with someone that you know, because it was really that good and that important. Well, as you think of that, let's move on. And I've created for you a list of my favorite 10 life lessons. And as we go through these 10 life lessons, I'd like you to keep one eye out for the one here that can help you with whatever you're going through right here, right now, just in case you have a bit of a blind spot. I'll say that again. I'd like, as we go through these, for you to keep an eye out and see if there's one life lesson that can help you with whatever you're going through right here, right now. And here we go with number 1. Of course, we have to start with the one that makes the absolute biggest difference, in my opinion. Our choice of frequency can change the course of our journey. Our choice of positive thought patterns instead of negative thoughts. Our choice to disallow ego thinking. Our choice to tap into resilience, compassion, grace, vibrancy, inspiration. That's our choice. And it's the very foundation of unlocking our hidden power. Out of all the lessons that we go over today, if you get just this one, I promise your life will change. And here's number two. Two of our soul's biggest lessons are discernment and choice. Discernment means we have the ability to judge or discern between what we don't want and what we do want, and then not staying stuck in what we don't want. Believe me, most of the people I work with have become stuck right there in what they don't want. And the minute we experience something that we don't want, in that moment, we actually can see the contrast. I don't want this, but I do want that. Too often, though, we get hung up in looking at what we don't want or what's going wrong or what's not working. But we have a choice. We have a choice in our perspective and how we'll feel about something, good or bad. We have a choice to go to the opposite direction and head toward what we do want. We have a choice which direction to take. It's a choice. That means both good and bad experiences are available to us in every crossroads. Both good and bad experiences are available to us. So with discernment, we can choose the higher frequency experiences that bring us joy. Here's number three. The single most important factor, let me say that again. The single most important factor to creating success and abundance is non-resistance. Non-resistance streamlines the pathway to love and prosperity and all things good because we're no longer fighting ego thinking, which of course is telling us how wrong it all is. All our negative emotions like irritation, doubts, confusion, uncertainty, even anger, these are all the energies of resistance. But when we choose non-resistance, and it is a choice, we're choosing the path of success and abundance because we're choosing positive energies like buoyancy, appreciation, looking at the bigger possibilities. We're choosing wisdom, courage, and all these positive energies. Okay, number four. You know, we talk about invalidation a lot here, and invalidation is when someone takes you down a notch by ignoring you, pretending you don't exist, or telling you through their words or actions that you don't matter. On one end of the spectrum, you have enough resilience to tell them to go take a hike. On the other end of the spectrum, like domestic violence and other trauma, this can literally shatter your soul. Either way, what comes after invalidation? Usually a failure. If you've ever experienced failure, whether it's a major setback or maybe even smaller failures in a row, you know it can really take a toll. But there's no rule that says we have to keep the emotional debris. We can sweep it away. After we've suffered invalidation or any spiritual injury or trauma, remember to ask, what did I learn? Number five, we may not always get the miracle, but we can choose to see the miracle within the challenge we're facing. A miracle is simply a shift in perspective to look for the blessing. So miracle thinking is really nothing more than positive thinking. With every positive thought, though, the possibility of negative also exists. Will we choose to see the miracle, the blessing, or will we choose those negative emotions like mistrust, overwhelm, struggle, conflict? I don't know about you, but it's just a lot more fun to go on a treasure hunt for the miracle. Okay, we're halfway through, so here's a life lesson for prosperity. And this is number six. There's only one reason we don't have prosperity. It's because we're more focused on lack. Yes, we could just be distracted by other things. Yes, we might have something from a past life, like being executed for making too much money. Yes, it could be a lot of things, but more often than not, it's because we're more focused on what we don't have, and that creates our reality. This struggle invites even more resistance, railing against prosperity. We must be able to find the blessings or the positives or the advantages within our struggle to change the energy. The more we focus on the abundance of prosperity, the easier it is for prosperity to find us. This is why you've heard me say so many times that one of my favorite mantras is my life is filling and overflowing with prosperity, bringing in everything I need and want in beautiful abundance. Much better to focus on that than to focus on lack. Okay, so let's go on to number 7. As you may have realized by now, my umbrella company is called the Get Unstuck Revolution. And this is because so many people come to me and say, I'm feeling stuck. They're in a paradox of some kind with blacked out glasses, unable to see the answers, the resolution, or even which direction to take. Well, we may think we're in a conundrum, but we actually have utter control over how things unfold. A conundrum and the indecision that comes with it can become so uncomfortable that we just want to throw our hands up and walk away. But here's the thing: the more we walk away or try to fix the problem or resolve it, the bigger that problem becomes because we're actually putting so much resistance on it. What if instead we can find the hidden message inside the conundrum? And that hidden message, the hidden message behind every conundrum is to stop trying to resolve it and shift instead into a higher perspective that maybe we haven't yet considered. And here's what I mean by that. When we have something that we don't want or something we're afraid of or unsure about, at that very moment, we can identify what we do want. It's a contrast, it's a shift. It's shifting off the problem, which we'll never resolve if we keep seeing it as a problem, and shifting toward the create process, which actually comes quite naturally for us since we are creative vibrational beings. So a conundrum is actually asking us to fully align with what we do want and stop vacillating over what we're unsure about. In a conundrum, it's never the situation that's the problem. It's our energy that's become stuck in frustration, worry, and indecision. Things can't change until we change the energy and move toward what we've been wanting all along. Of course, the caveat here is that have we taken the time to look at what we don't want to see what we do want and create on what we do want instead? And here's a clue. Often what we really want isn't a goal from our ego, but something we want in the deepest wisdom of our soul. In other words, what we really want may not be a physical world manifestation, but something our soul wants, which is a shift in energy. That's what our soul wants, a shift toward a higher vibration. In that higher stream of consciousness, this is where we'll find resolution. Okay, number 8. Most often, all that's required for healing is simply a shift in frequency, which creates a shift in our vibration. Although we may face some demons in the healing process, it can be easier than countless hours in the therapist's office or crying for hours as we try and clear negative patterns that we usually can't even find anyway. But a simple shift in perspective to look for the blessings allows us to clear the field, and then with a higher, more clear frequency like patience, love, compassion, understanding, well then, with those energies, we can begin to unearth our soul's plan for us and move toward our greatness. All that's required ever is a shift in frequency. And here's number 9. We don't always rise to the level of our potential. Sometimes we fall to the level of our emotions, which is why I have a little sign on my office door that says, manage your emotions before you step in. Life has a perfect vibrational blueprint if we'll step into a higher frequency. Let me say that again because it's kind of important. Life has a perfect vibrational blueprint for us if we'll step into a higher vibration. Remember the game called Twister? Imagine there's a perfect vibrational blueprint like a twister mat laid out right in front of you, and it's just begging for you to step into it. That's the perfect vibrational blueprint that the universe is holding for you. Our unique soul is on a unique journey to reconnect us with who we really are at our core. Our soul scripted a plan before we even got here, and the universe is supporting these experiences, good and bad, and honoring what we wish to experience for our own soul's growth. We came here to master one truth, that all is given. We think we came to this planet to learn forgiveness, patience, and all the virtues, but we came here to master one truth, that all is given, both good and bad, and we can experience things whichever way we choose for our own soul's growth. We just have to step onto the blueprint. It's right there waiting for us. And number 10, whatever's happened to us wasn't designed to keep us down. It was designed to bring us to a point where we want to overcome our challenges. That thing that's trying to keep us down is actually the illusion asking us to rise up, which brings us full circle to navigating our soul's path. And all that's really required is a shift in frequency, a shift in our energy from negative emotions to positive emotions and positive energies, because our choice of frequency can change the course of our journey. So there you have it, my top 10 favorite life lessons. And of course, I'd like you to reflect on this and add your own to this. When we have our own life lessons clear, when we've learned something valuable, we no longer need to sabotage our success. Remember, sabotage often means that on some level, we want to stay stuck because we want to buy a little time to prepare. And this usually translates into we don't want to mess it all up, whatever opportunity is in front of us. With our life lessons clearly identified, we're no longer afraid of repeating these same mistakes because our life lessons become an important part of our values. We have a built in, very bright guiding light to help us navigate our journey. That guiding light is called our own vibrational frequency. So let's keep energies on the positive side. Life is a continuum of learning, an ebb and flow, highs and lows, success and failure. And with every step, we pick up important lessons if we're paying attention. And hopefully, one of these lessons we talked about today, or one of your own, can help you right here and right now. So, reflecting back on everything we covered today, how can you apply what you've learned? Would one of these 10 life lessons help you? Would it help you right now with something you're going through? Or did you also uncover the most important thing you've learned in life that maybe you hadn't realized before now? Well, I hope this helps you as you're using the powers of alchemy to transform challenges and obstacles into positive new successes. But if you still can't get your head around what's got you stuck, you can tell me about it. You can send me a question to questions@unlockyourhiddenpower.com, or I also have a free guide available for you if you'll simply visit unlockyourhiddenpower.com. Of course, if you're already right here on the podcast page and not listening through iTunes or one of the others, then you'll see it on this webpage right there at the top of the right-hand column. This is for you if you want to get unstuck from a situation and just move forward. You know, for the past 10 years, I've been teaching people how to get unstuck. This is an interactive full-color workbook, and it's the first step in getting out of the sheer frustration of being stuck and spinning your wheels on success that seems elusive. So if you're in the middle of everything going wrong with no easy answers, then visit unlockyourhiddenpower.com for your free copy. Thanks for joining me today, and I'm wishing you a life filled with all the alchemy you need to bring success to you. Feel free to share this video with anyone you know who's feeling stuck, and don't forget to grab your free guide at unlockyourhiddenpower.com.